By 2026, just being good at tech won't save your job from AI. If your entire value is running scan or writing scripts, a machine is already doing that faster than you. I'm telling you, the technical part of my job, I'm a cybersecurity engineer, and I'm Nelia, by the way, it's already being automated as we speak. But here's what AI isn't doing. It's not taking moral accountability for a decision that is $50,000 in 1 minute. And it's not navigating the human politics of a political breach. If you want to break into cybersecurity in 2026, you have to stop trying to outcode the AI and start mastering the human side of the industry. These are the 5 unhackable skills that make you indispensable in this industry. The first one, high stakes incident command and intuition. The accountability gap. Why an LLM can provide data all day long, but it cannot take the legal or moral responsibility of pulling the plug on a production server. It can give you all the data that you want, but it's not going to be the one that's going to actually do it. What do you mean? So if we take a step back and say, okay, we have the server is this amount old and it's telling you that you need to shut it down. The LLM or the machine learning is telling you that it needs to be shut down. But it's not telling you that this is a server that has historical data in it. And because it has historical data in it, it needs to be preserved. So you can't just shut it down, right? Even though the CPU is spiking, it's doing this, it's doing all of this other stuff, but you can't just shut it off because of what it actually contained. The machine learning is not going to know the context of that. You will. And you will be able to say, based on the data points that the AI LLM told me, I think that this would be the best path forward for this server. And this is how we can do it. And this is how much it's going to cost, right? Again, you're using the LLM to your advantage, but it's not going to make the decision of taking out the server for you. So we're going to go with the gut feeling here of the AI patterns that it recognizes and the human intuition of a seasoned threat hunter. So there's something that the AI pattern might see as low or might see as high, and it might not be the case because it's not looking at the entire picture, again, of the knowledge of the human, knowing exactly what the vulnerability is, where it lives, how many layers of protection are there before a vulnerability is reached, XYZ. So that gut feeling of, or maybe it's something that it's saying that is low, but you know, because you're a seasoned threat hunter or you've studied enough or you know these things, you know that, well, you know, this has happened and we have been breached in this way. So maybe the algorithm doesn't know that. Maybe the LLM doesn't know that and hasn't caught that patterns because you just installed it or something like that. But you will be there to be able to tell people, hey, this same scenario happened X, Y time. And I feel like even though it's saying it's low, we should actually treat it as a higher vulnerability instead of low, which is what the AI is telling us, right? You still have to interpret the data that the AI spits out. And when it comes to GRC, AI can write the words, but it's not going to know the organization. It's not going to know the human side of people and what people tend to do and what people like to do. Of course, it's maturing and it can give you directions, but it's not going to say under this scenario, in this particular industry where you work, this is the best policy that is going to work. It's not going to be able to just spit that out, right? Policies need to be made still by humans. So GRC is another one that, though, yes, it can write, it does not mean that it's coherent or that it makes sense to your industry and to your particular job where you are. Now, human complexity, managing the panic of a board of directors during a breach. AI cannot do that. They will not be able, AI will not be able to manage that at all. You have to be there hand holding the directors and the board of directors, and you're going to have to guide them through this breach. Again, AI is going to give you data to help you, but is not going to be able to put that human sense and tell you the board members, this is how we're going to get through this. This is how we're going to do it. This is how I've done it before. This has worked for me in the past. Not, again, you use the data to support your ideas and what you want. But that doesn't mean that AI is going to take your job from you. I've always said you have to be smarter than the tool in order to survive in this day and age. Another skill is ethical hacking and moral reasoning, the gray area, right? Let's go beyond binary. AI sees yes or no, or allowed or deny, and a human understands intent, right? Determining if a policy violation was a malicious insider or a desperate employee trying to do their job faster, AI is not going to know that. You're going to be the one there to guide that conversation, to understand what that employee was trying to do. So there's this edge for career switchers, people from the legal, social work, or law enforcement backgrounds excel here because they understand human motivation, right? So let's go on to another skill, governance and NIST 2.0 oversight. The architect versus the builder. AI can write a policy, is what I was talking about before, but it cannot build culture of security. Remember when we were talking about the board members and how you're going to have to manage them and walk them through a breach, or if you want to include a new security policy, again, AI can write it all it wants. But that doesn't mean that the company where you work at is actually going to adopt that. You, the human, have to convince everybody that this is a good idea and how to implement it and why this is good. And to change behavior takes time. To change a culture of cybersecurity, it takes time. So trust me, these skills are still valuable and will still be here post AI. And I'm glad I'm doing this video because I cannot wait to go back to it and revisit it a few years from now, because I'm 100% sure it will still be relevant, right? So I'm implementing NIST right now, specifically as a govern function. And this requires negotiating with different departments, not just configuring software, right? So governance is about long-term business survival, which requires a human understanding of market shifts. Skill number 4, high empathy social engineering defense. the human firewall. AI can't truly understand the psychological hooks used in deep fake voice scams or sophisticated phishing. And I'm going to pause here and I'm going to tell you a little story because my mother went through this. They called her and she thought it was my sister crying on the other line. And she went to the bank. She tried to take money out. She was desperate to make sure that her daughter was safe. And obviously they spoke in her language. She doesn't speak a lot of English. They spoke in her language and they were able to do this to her. And there was a lot of scams that have happened this way. A lot of them, right? So you need to understand that the fakes and its scams are getting more sophisticated and humans are falling more and more and more for it. So you need to be the one to teach, share these experiences like I just did, and help the organization where you work or where you're going to work understand that the human firewall is the first line of defense, and that is something that we need, and that has something to do with AI, right? So there you go. Your job in 2026 isn't just securing the network. It's coaching the human on the network, the human side, teaching a non-technical employee how to spot a scam. That requires empathy and education, not just block a button, right? Cross-functional translation, the cybersecurity linguist, closing the gap. We're translating technical debt and vulnerabilities into business risk and dollar signs. The skill that you need, taking a complex log report and turning it into a 3-minute briefing for a CEO who only has 5 minutes of your time. Machines fail because of hallucinations or misses the political nuances of a company's internal structure. You know who needs to hear what and how to say it to get the budget approved. So now I'm going to compare it to bodybuilding because I'm doing a bodybuilding competition. Just like in bodybuilding, you can have the best equipment and the best AI generated workout plan, but without intuition to know when to push and the discipline to show up when the data says you're tired, you won't get results. It's the same thing. Cybersecurity in 2026 is the same. Use the AI tools to lead with your human grit. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave any comments in the comments below. And if you have any questions or you want me to touch on anything else, please let me know. I really, truly hope that this was helpful for you, and share it with anybody that could be useful, because I've heard a lot of times about people worrying about AI and is AI going to take my job? Is your job safe? On top of that, you should also have multiple streams of income. It shouldn't just be one, it should be multiple. But that's not what this channel is about. It's just extra advice that I would like to give you. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for the support.